Hello, this is Buzz. Today, we're going to do a redneck chain swap. I just wanted to make this video to show everybody that, hey, you may not have all the tools, you may not be a mechanic, but you can do your repairs yourself. It's got a few bad links in it, some surface rust. Chain's not something you skimp out on. If you lose it, say goodbye to your crankcase. Now, technically you're supposed to find the master link, spin it around till you find one that's different. This one has a clip style link, which are prone to come out and ruin your crankcase, make your engine pretty much useless, cut your leg up like a chainsaw, and bind up in the rear wheel and kill you more likely. I really don't suggest them. As you can, I don't know if you can see it right here. See if we can't get a lit. Day's running out on me. I'm running low on light. But you see this one's rusted in, so it might have been pretty safe. What wasn't safe is one thing you should always double check in any motorcycle that you buy, is this right here. This is supposed to have a locking nut. As you can see going down the road, what I'm going to show you today is a redneck trick, and it makes pretty spark. Just letting you know it is possible. I'm going to save the time and actually take that clip out. Now, as we can see, we got the old sprocket here and the new sprocket. How you tell if your sprockets are worn? One, remember this one wasn't bolted in, so we could see strange wear along the sides and on the inner teeth. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but like I said, once again, precautions. Second, if we can get this to focus, is the teeth have this rounded and almost crooked. As you can see, this tooth right here is actually knurled up like that. That means we're wearing, if we put the new chain on this sprocket, we would have had a chain go bad shortly. You're going to want these two O-rings to be on this side, and you are using at least an O-ring chain on your sport bike, right? This right here is an X-ring chain. Hence by the X rings. I don't think it'll show up in the video, but the rings are not smooth on the edges. They have a little X shape. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place the O-rings on this side of the rivet. Alright, as you put the O-rings on the other side, you'll notice they're in between the inner plate and the outer plate. What I have right here is not mandatory, but nonetheless helpful. You just don't want to go torquing down on these things. So I got a set of, once again, EK chains. But these would work with anybody, but EK chains, little spacers. So I can torque down pretty much as hard as I need to, but it's not going to put the link too tight. Now you just want to kind of get it seated there where it don't fall off and get in the dirt. This right here is the breaker tool, rivet tool. Right now it's set up as a press tool. Okay, what we're trying to accomplish now is we got our pins lined up. I've got those spacers that I use. Not necessary, but it helps. So you don't have to really just fine tune. You can pretty much crank through and it's not going to bind the link. Now we're just going to want to tighten it, or we can push the link through the little holes without riveting them. That's why you can see we have this piece right here that fits on these little links. Now the links are pushed through. Just yay, now we got to convert our tool. Now that we've converted our tool, as you can see, if you insert the proper, I don't know what they call that, a dowel, to fit in your into the link, move my knee, into your link right here, we're ready to rivet. Just carefully line it up. And once again, it's not suggested that you use a wrench like this. But as I was telling you a minute ago, with those plates that I've got, it gives me a little bit of leeway to over torque. Not a lot. I mean, you don't want to go crazy, but I'm not a tedious person. The only thing I've ever used torque wrenches on is conrod bolts and head bolts, and that is the extent of it. Alright, now we're going to want to pull our hood out of the rivet, which it can be sometimes a pain. As you can see, the tire is still not tight, which there's a reason for that, which we can get into later. Because you don't want it tight yet, because with a new chain, you've still got to adjust it forward and back, because it's not going to fit like the old chain. Now, you probably can't see in the camera, but the lips of the rivet went around the edges. Now, all we got to do, these are man's pliers, is pull our plates out. With my man's pliers, not your wife's kitchen little pliers. I'm talking man's pliers. And we have a chain that's on. Now all we have left to do is put our adjusters back on it and adjust it. Now if we take you back to the front, as you can see, I remedied the nut problem. Of course, I'll lube this all up good. Now, as you can see, this is fairly nasty. I'm going to take my fingers here in just a minute and scoop out a little bit of it. Don't go nuts trying to clean that. As you periodically clean and lube your chain, it's just going to happen. Grime's going to get up in there. You know, get the big stuff out. Don't stress. That's what the cover's for. Got everything put back together. Everything lined up. You're gonna notice a couple of things. One thing, your clutch cover. It's a bear to get on there. All your bolts are a different size. Sometimes, and to get it lined up properly, sometimes you got to use your long bolts where your short bolts go. It's a pain because you have to swap them out. Just remember what bolt goes where, because they are all different places. Second thing is rear tire alignment. You want it to be straight. There's little markers up on this right here. Also, one thing I like to do is make sure my rear brake rotor is lined up with the rear brake caliper. Just a couple of things to check. And while you're trying to line up the tires simultaneously, you want to check your chain tension. You want to have about 1 inch of free play on the bottom side to keep from binding up on your front gear. Too loose, it could sling around. Too tight, well, you're going to lose transmission. Last, if I didn't mention it, all this grease here, there's not much sense in trying to clean it up too much right now. That new chain is going to sling out the grease. So I'd go ahead and put your 50 miles and do your chain adjustment, because it is going to stretch a little bit. There you have it. How to put a chain on a motorcycle. If you noticed, I left out a lot of the details concerning the Yamaha Pacifics, is like, because not everybody has an 80s model Yamaha. Getting rarer and rarer by the day. Buy a manual and take it out and ride it. Next thing we're gonna have to do to this old girl is gonna put front wheel bearings in it. The front's got some slack, getting a little head shake at certain speeds, but that's gonna be another day as we're running out of daylight. Last thing, don't forget to reward your helper. This is Buzz. Hopefully it's helpful.